We've had a record-breaking year in 2021. 2021 saw startups in Africa raise $4.3 billion. More than 2018, 19, and 20 combined. So it's a very exciting time right now in the tech space and in the VC space in Africa.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with Leumitech, sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Synergy Global, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, Birthright Excel, Serona Partners, and in media partnership with CTech. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Today we're in Africa talking to Adesuwa Rhodes, founding partner and CEO of Aruwa Capital Management, one of the few women-owned and led private equity funds in Africa. She's leading investment professional and CEO with over 13 years of experience in investment banking and private equity and developed in emerging markets across a number of sectors, including healthcare, financial services, technology, and consumer goods. Adesuwa is an entrepreneur, CEO, mother, investor, and women's empowerment advocate. She's one of the youngest female private equity fund managers running her own fund in Africa, having launched her fund at 29 years old. Adesuwa Okunbo Rhodes, thank you so much for joining me all the way from Nigeria to 20-Minute Leaders. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
It is an honor to have you here. Adesuwa, you're leading such an incredible journey. You're solving some incredible problems, and you're working on some fascinating topics in your day-to-day, and I'm so honored to have you here to share with me your journey and your perspective and insights and work in these 20 minutes. In really short, one of the most interesting things I have to say is the fact that you worked in Lehman Brothers until August of 2008. I don't know if you were a prophet and saw what was going to happen a few months later, but that's fascinating. Different jobs in investment banking and amazing positions in places like JP Morgan and Syntaxis Capital as a partner, and then he is holding several board of director positions, but now most notably the founding partner and CEO of Aruwa Capital Management, and they're really making a really big impact on Africa and the African ecosystem as a whole. Adesuwa, how do you define yourself? How do you define your career?
Yeah, so I would say that my career has been one of, I would say, persistence. There's been a lot of, I would say, challenges being a young African Black woman trying to raise capital in a private equity ecosystem that's dominated by white men. No offense, but yeah, I would say my career has really been one of persistence, one of growth, one of different seasons. And I'm very, very happy to be where I am now, where I'm, being able to fulfill, the dream and my dream of being able to use my platform to help close gender funding gaps on the continent. So yeah, it's been, I've 13 years of experience in investment banking and private equity. As you mentioned, some of those names, Lehman Brothers, JP Morgan, but really got excited to spin out of my previous fund and start my own private equity fund, where we're intentionally investing in businesses that are either founded and led by women or businesses that are providing essential goods and services to women, because we see that as such as an untapped opportunity. As a woman allocating capital, I'm best placed, I believe, to invest in the best businesses that are producing solutions to problems that I understand as a woman and as an end user. It's a $15 trillion female economy. Women are making 80% of consumer spending decisions.
Wow.
So, there's so much limited competition in that space because historically men are the ones allocating capital. I read a statistic that said that white men are controlling 98.7% of the $69 trillion under management. So we live in a world where only 1.3% is being managed by women and minorities, which is obviously a huge problem, but I see that as a huge arbitrage opportunity, right? So we can invest in their blind spots and have a very competitive advantage to enhance returns for our investors. So yeah, very excited about what we're doing with Aruwa Capital, and happy to talk more on the gaps that we see in the market.
Well, take me back to the founding of Aruwa Capital. 2 years and 7 months ago, or 3 years ago, you're standing there, and what is sort of the vision that you have, or what is the catalyst that is bringing you to do this?
Yeah, sure. It's really because, I struggle to fundraise. I struggle to fundraise from institutional investors. So I always say, if you can't see it, and you can't be it. So I couldn't see people like me, getting capital and allocating capital. So I said, well, if I can't see people like me, it's going to be very, very hard for these institutions to invest in me. So with the Rural Capital, it was really born out of a frustration at the system, but also a big onus to be the change that I want to see by using Aruwa as a case study, and to really showcase that this is what can happen when women are empowered as capital allocators. There is a triple bottom line effect, because we have a natural competitive advantage to enhance returns, because as you invest in women, we're 2 times more likely to invest in female founders. We're more likely to improve gender diversity in our portfolio companies. And now there's so much research out there that shows that gender diversity helps to improve performance, helps to enhance returns, helps to reduce risk. So we're really, really excited to just showcase that through that natural trickle-down effect of having women as capital allocators, there is an enhancement of return. But also, if you care about social impact, women invest in everyone else. Women are reinvesting 90% of their income into healthcare or education. So there's so much poverty. There's so much poverty alleviation that can be had through this strategy, because we're investing in basic healthcare and education for our families. There is multiplier effect in terms of job creation. So there's a real triple bottom line effect with our strategy in terms of enhanced return, social impact, and gender equality. So we're very, very excited about that. So yeah, that's my vision. Is I want other women to be able to point to Aruwa, see the successes that we've had, and not go through the same 6-year fundraising journey and challenges that I've had to go through, because they would have, someone else that's making the business case for women.
If you're taking me 30,000 feet in the air into the landscape of Nigeria, Ghana, maybe Africa in general, what are we observing today on a general, tech investment side, but then more specifically about the gender gap?
Yeah, we've had a record-breaking year in 2021. 2021 saw startups in Africa raise $4.3 billion. More than 2018, 19, and 20 combined. So it's a very exciting time right now in the tech space and in the VC space in Africa. But when you drill deeper into those numbers, the reason funds like Aruwa exist is exactly this: less than 1% of that capital that was raised is going to female founders. Single male founders have raised over 100 times more than female founders on the continent. And the reason that we have those disparities is we don't have enough women allocating capital. If we have more women allocating capital, if we have more women in investment decision-making roles, then we'll be able to see, female founders have a larger portion of that pie. So, from 30,000 feet up, the numbers look great. The tech sector is burgeoning, but we're not seeing women well represented in those numbers. We're also not seeing a lot of local investors being represented in those numbers. We're seeing a lot of foreign investors coming in to, take up these rounds. So, we're having a few challenges, I would say, in the ecosystem. But, we're excited that, we're finally able to showcase the untapped potential that Africa represents. And I think the whole world is waking up to that now.
And so, as you're participating actively as an investor and as a board member, how are you shifting the mentality, both of the founders that you're working with, as well as those that you're meeting on a regular basis for investment opportunities? What sort of persona are you bringing into this as a part of trying to help bridge the gap of the gender gap here?
Yeah, so it's really one that, we have to make sure that it's commercial. We make it very, very clear that we're not doing this for charity. This is not to tick a box. This is not a feel good thing. I'm a capitalist and an investment banker at heart. And we make sure that it's a commercial discussion. We think gender diversity will improve the profitability of your business. It's going to improve your bottom line. So we make it very, very clear that as we think about gender diversity on the board at the board level, as we think about it in your workforce, as we think about it in your supply chain, as we think about it in your senior management team, we're doing this because we strongly believe that will bring value. It's not something that we're doing for charity. And the numbers prove it in everywhere else in the world. And it's really just making sure that we can showcase that for Africa as well. BCG have research on this. They said for every dollar that's invested in a startup, female founded startups are generating 2.5x more than male founded
Really?
startups. Yes. So there's so much
Wow.
statistics on this in other parts of the world. We just need to be able to showcase what's also possible in Africa, where Africa is a region that has the highest rate of female entrepreneurship in the world.
Actually,
One in Yes, 1 in 4 women are managing or starting businesses on the continent,
wow.
4 times more than in Europe. So when you have that level of female entrepreneurship, and then I tell you that less than 1% of the 4.3 billion being raised has gone to female founders, you can see that there is a dislocation there. But we see it as a huge arbitrage opportunity because we're one of the very few women-owned funds locally on the ground that are investing in this space.
Unbelievable. How do you explain the fact that 1 in 4 women in Africa are business owners or starting their businesses, and that on average, a female entrepreneur returns 2.5x male entrepreneur?
Yeah, these disparities are there, and I think that they're there because there is unconscious bias in the system. Where we don't have women in those investment decision making rooms. You have a woman asking for capital in front of 5 men. There's just not that gender balance in the investment decision making. So I think there's unconscious bias in the system, and that can only be alleviated as we have more Aruwa capitals and we have more women actually writing the checks.
Going back to you a little bit and your own journey here, how do you see your journey moving forward? What is sort of your vision? Is it more in the on the investment side, on the changing the landscape side? Are they maybe just the same mission intertwined in one? How do you see your own journey unfold moving forward?
Yeah, I think that is really the mission. Is we want to have a dent in the financial ecosystem in Africa, and be able to use our platform to change the system, and be able to use our platform to be able to encourage institutional investors to invest in women as capital allocators, change the assumptions that if you're investing in women, it's pink and soft and it's not commercial. We want to be able to really have tangible stories that otherwise wouldn't have been told without our capital, where we can showcase that you can make money, you can have social impact, you can have tangible women economic empowerment outcomes, you can alleviate poverty, you can create jobs, you can achieve gender equality, all at the same time. That's really what we want to be able to showcase. And I think as we do that, we will have an impact in the financial ecosystem where investing in a woman as a fund manager, investing in a woman as entrepreneur will no longer be an exception to the rule, but will be the norm. That's really the vision that I have.
I love it. Can you remember when this all started for you, specifically looking at the gender gap? Was there an aha moment that sort of led you there? Was it during investment banking or later? What made you so passionate about this?
It was really just from lived experience. And I think that's
From
where, when
fundraising
you
on your
have lived.
own?
Yeah, yeah. When you have lived experience, I was one of those female entrepreneurs. So when you have lived experience, it comes from the stomach, as we say. So I've been one of those female entrepreneurs, trying to raise capital, and I know how tough it is, how difficult it is. So if I can play my own part in making it easier for other women to raise capital, then I think that I would have fulfilled, some part of my purpose here on earth.
So obviously the trajectory that you're taking is female first, and you're really being intentional and deliberate about closing the gender gap from Aruwa's perspective. If we're looking now at the greater landscape of investors, and I'm in venture capital as well, and there's thousands of VCs around the world, what is something that VCs can do actively that would really move the needle here? Is it simply just saying, "Hey, everybody, focus more on female founded entrepreneurs, female founded startups because they're there and they actually are often doing better"? Is that just the solution, or is there more education that needs to go into this market?
Yeah, I think there is. I think there is some education that needs to be had. I think it's not just investing in a female founded startup based on wanting to check a tick box. They have to, because if we do that, then we do more harm to the system than if we
Right.
So it's making sure that you're investing in sustainable businesses, but being intentional. When you're screening, a lot of the unconscious bias happens in the screening phase. So when you're screening, just be intentional to just listen to the pitch. Don't just wash it off because it's two female founders coming and pitch you something.
So essentially, what you're
Listen to
touching here is that there's this dramatic inconsistency when you're saying that often females have a harder time getting funded, yet they're showing greater returns. This means that investors are doing a bad job. It's plain and simple.
Well, yeah, yeah. They're, and I think that you say it as investors doing a bad job. I just think that there is an imbalance in the capital allocators. If because if we don't have gender balance in the people allocating capital, you're not going to have gender balance in the outcomes.
Correct. Correct.
So I think that's where the issue is. But a lot can be done. And a lot can be done in terms of just being intentional when you're screening, having more women on your investment decision, in the investment committee and your investment professionals, and men also just being more kind of open to different founders, to different markets that maybe they don't understand. There's a lot that can be done, but yes, I would stay away from just saying invest in every female startup that you see, female founded startup that you see, because that would do more harm than good if some of them are not being invested on based on fundamental analysis of is this a good is this a good investment. Because I think for us, we're very, very conscious that for this to be sustainable, for this to be scalable, we need to make money. So I think that that's something that we're very, very conscious about as well.
How do you work with your entrepreneurs once you invest in them? What kind of work do you do with them, on a regular basis as a part of your role?
Yeah, sure. So we're very hands-on. So we're a local investor. We're based in Lagos. We're investing in Nigeria. So we're hands-on. We make sure that as we invest, we're improving corporate governance, sitting on the boards. We make sure that we're improving operational systems and processes, in the finance function, in accounting, in reporting. We really are very intentional about institutionalizing the businesses that we invest in, because as we do that, they become very, very attractive for other private equity funds to invest. But also it helps us monitor our risks effectively as well by making sure that we have a finger on the pulse on the operations of the business. So yeah, we're active, hands-on investors because we're local. We can be.
You mentioned that your idea for Aruwa started out as a catalyst out of your own experience fundraising. What is the biggest pain point or struggle that you see female leaders and female entrepreneurs having now as CEOs or as co-founders in companies once they're there, once they've made the investment and they're on to the next stage of the company? What are some of the biggest challenges that they then face that you're helping them also overcome?
Interesting. I would say that maybe I think there is a gap in the next stage of capital that needs to be raised. So I would say that we've invested in them, we've institutionalized them, and then it's now looking for that next round of capital. Because again, we don't have the gender balance at every stage of the ecosystem in terms of the funds that are allocating. It's okay for Aruwa to be in this space, but then we don't have another Aruwa in the next phase.
Right.
So I would say it's that there's a scale up. There might be a scale up issue later in making sure that we have the gender balance of capital allocators across each stage of the investing ecosystem.
I love it. Adesuwa, are you optimistic?
I'm very optimistic. I'm very hopeful. Africa is getting its moment in the sun right now. There's everyone is excited about our VC scene, our tech scene. So I'm very very hopeful that as more investors start to see more unicorns emerge from the African continent, we will have more funds, we'll have more Aruwas. We will have the gender balance that we seek in these startups. I'm very very hopeful. uh, I think we're moving in the right direction for sure.
And Adesuwa, thank you so much for these 20 minutes. But more importantly, thank you for all the great work that you're doing to your country, to the continent, to the world.
Thank
Really,
you.
I think that's really moving the needle, and I learned a lot in these 20 minutes. So thank you very much, and stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael. Thanks for reaching out. It's been a pleasure. Have
Thank
a
you.
good rest of the week.
Thank you.